Hello boys, in this video I'm gonna play few battles with German top tier ground vehicle, which is Leopard 2A7V, along with one of the best jets in the game currently, which is Eurofightrer 2000. Of course we're gonna have wonderful time with those vehicles, so let's get into it. First battle in Normandy. I personally like to drive here next to the obelisk, simply to flank opponents and to put a pressure on guys in the middle. The one thing you're gonna have to worry about is if anyone is going to cross on point A. Also, if you would like to pick here to the left, you have to watch out on the point B. But in this case, we don't really have anyone in front of us, so I'm just going to push into the next street. In the same time, I'm looking at the following streets, so opponents can't just run straight and shoot me in the face. We hear one tank to the right. We even hear him shooting with his machine gun, so I'm taking opportunity because he's not watching my angle, and I'm shooting his lower plate and one-shotting him. We saw one tank going behind our friends, but I can't do anything about it right now. I'm just pinging on the map to let know my guys about this. I'm going back to the corridor I first drove by. We see another 380, another lower plate shot, eliminates him from the game. Now, you saw my friend was machine gunning me, probably to get my attention, so I'm turning my tank into him and I see another T80. In the meantime, T90M doing an aggressive push. I missed my shot, so I'm smoking instantly and I'm going back to make him into thinking I'm driving back all of the time. But I suddenly stopped, so he overshot and I'm just simply going straight forward before the smoke and finish him off. Now, I wasn't sure if any of the opponents are still on the back line, so I stopped for a little just to make sure I won't get shot in the back, and I'm going to push into enemy spawn. I'm also aware of the fact that this T90 that I killed a minute ago might want to come back to the same position. We hear one tank on the left, so I'm preparing, shooting him in the side, and as you see, it was exactly the same guy I mentioned about. How did I know? That's actually an easy answer. Most of the players, if they die in they think good position, they mostly come back to the same place, thinking they can surprise us because they know we shot them a minute ago. But in this case, I simply switched my position and it was me who surprised him by shooting him in the side. Meanwhile, I'm shooting another Leopard 2A7, which was the Hungarian version and the Italian tech tree. And I decided that I want to go back. There was no point of sitting there for a long time because at least 3 enemies now know that I was there, so they could easily overwhelm me by 2 sides, and of course I don't want this to happen. I hear something down below, so I turn my attention into it. Turns out to be Shilka. I can't depress my gun enough to shoot him, so I'm simply waiting for him to push into point A, and now easy shot in the side. 8th kill without actually making any great mistake. I'm pushing a little bit and I'm looking for another victim, which eventually happens to be this Panzer. I'm using my machine gun to check out if he's still invulnerable. Turns out he can be destroyed. First shot missed. I tried to shoot him in his rocket to cause explosion, which sadly didn't happen, and I have to waste another shell on him. Now, again, I'm not going to push straightly into their spawn, because simply I don't want to die in the stupid way. And I figured out that I'm going to need some smokes if enemy planes or helicopters spawn, so I'm going back to point B. Now I see my friend in Mr. V pinging something on the map, which probably is another enemy. But in this moment I decided that I'm just gonna wait, replenish my smokes and ammunition, because I also had only 5 shots left. Sadly, I made a mistake by watching the same corner that my STRV is right now, so enemy 2S38 simply peeked and shot me in the side of the turret. Sadly for him, he didn't cause any damage. On the minimap in the same time we see another enemy, so I tried to drive back and support my friend, but luckily he managed to destroy that T90M without any problems. So now I'm turning back my attention to S38, but turns out he also changed his position. Sadly, the tank that been pinged by our friend in STRV pushed him and eliminated 2 guys. So now 2S38 makes a mistake and pushes from the middle road, and now I make a mistake by pushing this VZ, but superior armor of 2A7 saves the day, and I'm simply shooting him in the side and one-shotting him. The battle is actually already over, so I'm going just to capture point B in hope of getting enough points for nuke, but sadly it's not gonna happen. So let's just go to another battle. This time we ended up in cargo port. I love this map because of the fact that you can shoot through the containers, which most of the people don't know, and you can simply surprise them by that fact. As you can see, I drive my tank next to the point B, and from here I'm gonna try to weaken some backline defenses. I tried to finish that T80, but one of my friends was simply faster than me and finished him off. Now I'm pushing harder a bit. We see another enemy in the back, which is probably, yeah, another T80. He shot lower plate. I don't know if he penned or not. I guess not. Another assist. And I'm still pushing. We hear few tanks to our right. We see 2 tanks in our front. so I'm side-scrapping a bit, shooting side of the Leclerc. Now, you see that this MBT doesn't even care about us. And as I said before, enemies and you can shoot through the containers, which probably happened right now, but I don't think this guy knew about the fact that he can actually shoot through that. So he just shot the very back of my engine, not causing any serious damage. We see another T-90 trying to push point B. That wasn't very accurate shot by me, shooting straight into his spotliner. Another Leclerc tries to cross to the point B, but I was very prepared. Now I'm shooting the container, as you can see, finishing the ATBV without any problems. Now I tried to shoot from the third perspective, but it wasn't very effective, so I'm switching for the commander's binoculars. I'm holding left mouse button, and in the moment I press binoculars button again, the tank simply shoots. Now, what I actually should do in this situation is fall back to the point B and refill my ammo, because I only have 5 shells left, which isn't a great amount, and you will see in the moment that it will be my doom. But in the moment of playing this battle, I thought I'm gonna make enough points for nuke with these 5 shells. But as you saw before, enemies picked very weak tanks with significantly lower BR than my 2A7, which actually causes less spawn points to be rewarded after killing them. So now with 4 shots left, again I'm not going to push directly on their spawn, because this 99% of the times ends not very well for you, especially in the early stages of the battle. We see another T90M, but this time my shot was actually perfect, so he dies instantly. Another example of shooting through the containers. And the ZSU goes back to his BR where he belongs. 2 shots left. As I said, I should have gone back to the point B and refill ammunition. Now I was thinking about picking this guy in the spawn, but I was afraid of him being invulnerable in that moment, so I didn't want to risk it. So I simply drive a bit back and preparing for another enemy's push, which eventually happens. Now I have 2041 spawn points, which could be a greater number if the enemies we faced wasn't the low BR ZSU or the T80UD. And now I'm going simply to back to the point B with the idea of capturing it. We see another T90. I quickly shoot him in the side and I'm pushing into point B, hoping I can capture it, but T72 has another plans for this battle. As I said before, the low amount of ammunition I took was actually a doom for me, but with this amount of spawn points I can freely jump into the Eurofighter. What can I say about this plane? Of course, you probably know, it's one of the best jets in the game currently, with great choice of ammunition, You have laser guided bombs, laser guided rockets, GPS guided bombs, you have AIM 9Ms, you have AIM 120s for air-to-air engagements. Personally, I simply use 18 brimstones, which is crazy amount. You can do very long engagements without needing to rearm in the airfield. In the meantime, the MiG-21 flies below us, so I'm using AIM 9M to eliminate him. I see another Su-34 in my RWR, so now I'm flying a bit lower altitude. We see another target, which was probably destroyed drone. One thing about this plane is you actually have terrible radar. I think it's the biggest flaw of this plane. Sometimes you just simply cannot lock enemy plane because your radar cannot find anything, and if it finds a target and you're going for hard lock on the enemy plane, it sometimes instantly loses lock. Now I made a mistake. I should have flied harder to the left, but I thought multipathing will save me. 13 kills in the last game. The battle was pretty much over, so let's get into another one. In this map, with the eastern spawn, I like to go next to the point C, and I'm gonna use the terrain and the rocks simply to shoot enemies trying to push point A or point B. I think that's one of the best positions in this map. After initial shooting, you can push up to the F5 square when you have pretty much control over all of the map. As you can see, I'm using my gun depression and I'm showing only the tip of my turret to lower the chance of enemy hitting me. We see two enemies. We're shooting them instantly. We saw another on point A, but he drive forward and I can't reach him anymore. We have another T-80 lurking next to the point B in not a very great spot, I think. Now, I was wondering if anyone is going to show up from the south, and as you can see, that's exactly what happened. After first shot I tried to pop a smoke screen to lower his chance of hitting me, but he still manages to shoot me in the barrel. But my ace screw deals with the repairs very quickly. After smoke fading out, I'm just gonna simply repick him and shoot him in the lower plate and eliminating him. We see another T-80 and a light tank, which turns out to be the KA-41, which he tried to hit me with his spikes, then autocannon. Now T-80 goes very aggressively, he misses his shot. I was in the good position above him, so he had a hard time hitting that, but sadly the MiG-29 ends my career. With 5 kills I have more than enough spawn points to jump into the Eurofighter again. I see first target on the radar. I'm deciding to shoot a AIM-120 into this, and for now I see no anti-air defense, so I'm simply gonna shoot some brimstones into enemies. The first enemy turns to be the Ka-50. One thing to mention is that the anti-air rockets aren't exactly very effective against top tier helicopters, simply because Russians have systems that can trick IR rockets, and the AMRAAMs simply can't track stationary targets or the targets that fly slowly. But in this case, Ka-50 flew a bit too fast, so the AIM-120 simply found him. I shoot some rockets into MiG-29 SMT just to make sure he is not gonna start again from this airfield. So planes are gone, so I'm trying to bully some ground vehicles, but as you can see now the WR shows me the 2S6 and ADATs and Su-34, so I'm shooting some brimstones and I'm instantly going low altitude just to make sure I won't get hit by those anti-air systems. In the meantime, I'm trying to outmaneuver enemy MRAAM. Now I'm switching to HMDPD mode, so my radar won't trigger his RWR, which basically doesn't really helps this much in this exact moment because I was flying next to the enemy helipads, so he simply sees me on the map, but he made a mistake by going a bit too high and losing way too much speed. So I'm using this, sending him an MRAAM and eliminating him from the game. Now we see another M29 indicator on RWR, so this is gonna be our another target to deal with. I think that first of what, when you're trying to play close air support, you have to think about your own safety, which is first off killing enemy planes, then enemy anti-air systems, and then you can think about going for tanks. Enemy plane had no idea that I'm right behind him. I'm sending him my last two rockets just to make sure I'm gonna destroy him swiftly. And again, I'm turning out my attention for the ground targets. As you can see, we have a question mark on the radar, which may be a Panzer or some Ka-52. Sadly, enemies managed to hit me, which probably was a fuse shell from 2S38, because we saw no rocket here. I'm going to do some desperate attempt to eliminate at least one or two enemies. I'm taking another shot from the rocket, and as you can see, the ADATS turns out to be on the point A, which was a complete surprise for me. Previous game wasn't very fortunate. Turns out 13 kills wasn't enough to win that game, so we ended up losing. It doesn't matter, we jump right into the next one. In this map I decided that I'm going to go for the point A and support two of the 2A7s which play in the platoon, just to make this an easier experience for them and for me. Also because I think personally that if someone plays the Hungarian version, is actually quite an experienced player, because I don't think new players pick Italian tech tree as their first choice. As you can see, crossing here I shot BMP in the river. Now another shot in the Abrams. And we have another enemy in front of us, which turns to be a challenger. Very unfortunate shot here, but he misses his shot also. Now, the another unfortunate shot, only driver and gunner, and I didn't manage to hide in time. It doesn't really matter because I still have spawn points for Eurofighter. In this particular game you're gonna see how dominant can Eurofighter be when he's not distracted by enemy planes or SPAA systems. I'm flying maximum speed with maximum engine power, shooting some brimstones from afar. The first target will be this object 292. I didn't try to lock him because he was next to the destroyed tank, so I was wondering if the lock gonna jump between him and the destroyed tank. But now, after server shows me that this game still needs to improve its tick rate, I decided to hard lock him and simply finish him off. After that I turned my attention in the middle of the map and I finished off the Abrams. Now another turn and another target in sight, which is some T-80 series, and the RWR shows me the F-18 radar, which is F-18 or the Harrier. So we're shooting the T-80 and I'm going to eliminate the enemy plane. The guy was pretty much scared of me, I think, so he was flying very low to play multipathing with my AMRAAMs. I'm shooting one and I'm going to reduce distance between him and me to shoot him with the Sidewinder, which turns out to be a good decision. He multipathed my AIM-120s, but he can't multipath AIM-9M. Now we're heading into the battlefield again. We see 3 targets. Now in this case I should have lower my engine power and slow down below 1000 kilometers per hour, simply to be able to eliminate those guys in one passing by. But I was a bit afraid that enemies will spawn some Panzer or other anti-air system and shoot me down, so I actually decided to keep my speed and take it slowly, pick enemies one by one. As you can see, pressure from single Eurofighter is actually pretty great. You constantly harass your opponents with brimstones, and the amount of time you are above battlefield supporting your teammates is pretty great. Now I saw the black dot in the sky, so I instantly thought about turning my attention into the helicopter spawn points. Turns out we found one guy. The great thing about brimstones also is that you're able to eliminate helicopters without great risk of getting shot down yourself by going for a guns, which I highly do not recommend, especially when you're going for the Russian helicopters, which autocannons are great and they can shoot you from even 2 kilometers distance. So shooting a brimstone from, I don't know, maybe 5 kilometers even is a great option, and I highly recommend doing it, especially because you cannot simply defend from a laser guided rocket. No flare, no maneuver, no chaff can save you. Now we see an ADATS in the LWR, so I fly it a bit lower. I don't have any rockets left, but the game is actually pretty much over, so I decided to go for a guns. I switched in my computer for better gun accuracy, and I'm eliminating him. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments if you have the 2A7 or the Eurofighter, and what do you think about those vehicles, if you enjoy playing them or not. I wish you all the best and see you next time.